It's a strange channel, so
Good afternoon. Welcome to our trustee community meeting. I'm Trustee Cavazos. This is my colleague, Trustee Esparza-Stoffagen, and we're so happy that you could join us tonight. We are very thrilled about beginning this series of trustee community engagement meetings. This is the second one. The first one was a couple weeks ago on September 10th. I represent District Chief, and that's right here where Thurman White Performing Arts Academy is, and it's also in Henderson, and that's what my colleague, Ramona Stoffagen, Esparza-Stoffagen, and I have to stop him just for a moment here, represents. So tonight we are really looking forward to a safe and productive conversation about topics that are important to you. We're going to try our best to do a good job of answering your questions as completely as possible. However, if there are questions that we cannot fully answer, we will make sure that we get those down and that we get back to you as soon as possible with the rest of your questions. So welcome again, and I want to thank our host, Principal Jackson, and staff for hosting us tonight. I'm going to turn the mic over now. Yes, thank you so much. I'm going to turn the mic over now to my colleagues.
Thank you, Trustee Cavazos. Well, here's the thing. I can be only authentic and real, and I appreciate you skipping dinner early, if you're an early dinner eater. But I'm proud to serve as the Henderson trustee here. And again, I want to thank not just the host, but also our board team, who really puts in a lot of work to get us prepared. And really, I would say to you that this re-engagement is really essential to listening to the community. And what we mean is this is not just a one and done. We are going to continue to have multiple meetings, and there is a schedule on ccsd.net. If you go under trustees, there's a link for community meetings, and it has all of the months that they are going to have community meetings, just the dates will be presented when they're finalized. So as a quick intro, I would like to say that some of you definitely know Trustee Cavazos. She's been long serving. I want to give her some recognition on that. So thank you for your service, Trustee Cavazos. You've been a mentor to us all. Those that may not know me, I am a former educator administrator within the Clark County School District. I served almost 30 years, not quite, but I'm very proud that the city of Henderson really has entrusted with me to serve the community and the schools. And I think that I would say to you, there's this just a re-energizing and I think just a sense of hopefulness now that we are having some new Superintendent Ebert, and we really do mean what we say. This is a place where we want to be respectful and really listen to each other. So we want to have that dialogue with you tonight. So I'm going to go into a question and answer, correct?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to leave the mic here because we only have one. We're going to ask you to come up, talk show style, and just be able to share, and then we'll be able to respond. We won't ask you to. So who's a brave soul? Who would like to come up and ask Q&A? Come on, ask.
It's a very shy person here.
Oh, yes, so shy. All right. Is that close enough? My name is Liz Becker, and I work at the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada. And my focus for the last year or so has been on solar on schools. And my biggest concern is the amount of money that the district is spending on utilities, specifically electricity. So about $120 million a year is spent on all the utilities. About 80 or 90 million of that is to NV Energy. And the district, because you own so many buildings, so many parking lots, you have the ability to be producing all of your power from solar. Obviously that would take a plan and many steps. And something that I want to see is an accounting in the district of how much solar is currently installed, how much is going on every year. 7 schools came online this year with solar. And then an accounting of how long it's gonna take till you can produce all of your own power and reduce that utility bill basically to nothing in terms of electricity. So that's something I've been working on with the district, but what I really wanna see is a public accounting of this so that people in the community know. I don't think most people know how much money of our taxpayer dollars is spent on electricity, and Indian Energy is an investor-owned company. So our tax dollars are currently going to shareholders of Indian Energy, and I disagree with that just on its face. So that is why I'm here, just to ask for that and to see if you have any information about the energy usage currently or anything that you could provide to the community in terms of an update. Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and just use my teacher voice so that we can leave the microphone there for all of our constituents who are here. So hopefully you can hear me. And Ms. Becker, who is here for Plan, she has been working very hard on this to get the information to the district about the grants available and what is available for the future. And as she said before, and I was trying to take notes, and I'm used to Liz talking fast, so I was trying to take notes very quickly, that we do have 7 schools that entered into our solar program. We do not receive, unless it comes up in a briefing, or if we decide that we want to ask for that of a constituent, or one of you sends us an email and wants to have basically like a current amount that is being spent, we can get that information for you. I know that Ms. Becker has also been working with Mr. McLaughlin, Chief of Facilities, and that has led to some really eye-opening information about things that we don't know about sometimes, the money that is out there and is actually available to us. So what we're looking at for the future is going forward in a more environmentally friendly way, not only to save money, but also, let's be honest, we are looking at our environment and the future for our children. So thank you so much. If you wanted to add anything to that. Okay. Another shy person.
It would help if you, and thank you, Liz,
Say
state your
yours,
name and you can choose to identify if you're with an organization or employee or whatever. That's your choice.
Good
Yeah.
evening. My name is Elena Fabian, and I have written down 3 questions, but I'll just go one by one.
Yeah.
So my first question is, what steps are being taken to ensure trustees are upholding their duties and not letting personal politics interfere with student-centered decisions?
We'll take one question at a time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You want to take the first part?
I'll take the first part.
Okay.
So I want to repeat the question. It's saying, what steps are trustees doing to ensure that politics is not?
Personal and it's focused on student-centered decisions.
So we have been trained and are still continuing to be trained on governance policies that specifically currently state what our role is as a trustee. And there is specific language that does specify that we need to be a nonpartisan. This role is definitely, representing the entire district. And so we have to be very clear on, really focused on the strategic plan, which we're gonna move towards as well, to, have better student outcomes. So what I will tell you is that those policies that are in place have to be followed not only by the entire board and each trustee, but really it's our officers as well that are the individuals that, if you look at the GP, I would say GP 4.2 and 10, GP 10, they really outline and specify what the officers' roles are and making sure that those parameters and that we do not go into the lane of politics. So
I will add something just very briefly, Elena, and I think that Trustee, as far as the staff again, covered it pretty well. I just wanted to add that having been here in the district and representing this district for a while, a lot of things that sometimes the community does not understand is the board governs itself. So our governance policies are our laws. So sometimes when constituents will say, why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? Sometimes that is just not in our lane. In our lane as a trustee, we have to govern ourselves, and that governance policy to which she just referred to, that is what we need to follow, and there is a progressive protocol for that. If anybody has any questions afterwards, we'd be glad to give you that information. But that's how it's structured.
your second question.
Okay, my second question is, CCSD has persistent achievement gaps in literacy and math, especially among English language learners and minority students. What new strategies will you support to address these gaps?
Can you take that first? Okay. So, thank you for the question, Ms. Fabian. I would say we have a lot of work to do. Although there's been a big investment in Tier 1 instruction and ensuring that the resources are there equitably across the district, that all students have access to the same curriculum. I think the area that we really are not seeing the progress is differentiating that instruction, looking at our Tier 2 and our Tier 3 interventions for kids, like those that are ELL or students that are having wide gaps. And we're at a space and time where we can no longer say, well, it's because of COVID, right? It's not that anymore. We are in a space and time where we have to, and I'm going to say this because our superintendent has said it, there's been questions about teachers really having the autonomy to understand that the pacing guide maybe is not conducive for all students in the time that they need to learn. So let's really look at mastery and understand that we need to have those resources. Maybe it's high dosage tutoring for students. I know that the superintendent has been very public about considering maybe extending the day. That is something she's also expressed. So I would say to you that we are looking and assessing where we are with our students, especially our second language learners and those individuals that are not excelling or proficient. And we have to really take it community by community to address those specific needs and gaps.
Very little to add to that. Kind of boiling it down to the bottom line, we have to meet our children who are not excelling. We have to meet them where they are, not where our standardized curriculum and testing may want them to be, but where they are. And these children, they are with our teachers, a majority of their day. And so when they are with these teachers and the support professionals, these teachers are being able to assess how these children are doing, not just by the standardized testing that's mandated, but also by what else is going on in their lives. And this is why we talk about looking at the whole child, that it's not just a data point, but that is the whole child and what is happening with them. So as my colleague just said right now, we really have to look at where these kids are. And as far as strategic, looking at something different in the future besides possibly the extended day, we are looking at different ways to approach the children that happen to be in these, I'll just call them like maybe subgroups, that we know that they are the hot spots that we need to look at. What is behind, what is the reason? Instead of just reporting the data to you, but looking underneath at the meta problem and seeing what's going on there. And yes, I'm a former teacher also here in the district.
I want to add to Trustee Cavazos' response. The thing that I've been hearing from some educators is they do need support. They do need support. And we have to really do a better job of providing those supports and resources to them and listening to what those needs are. I don't know what that is specifically because I don't want to say one size does not fit all. And I really appreciate the superintendent listening to, she has 11 bosses. She has 11 bosses. And, it's interesting because I think that's the piece where every community deserves to have resources, whatever they need. And we need to listen to our educators because they know their community best, our site-based leaders. We need to have them really be trusting us and be vocal enough to say, maybe we need more training or maybe we need additional layers for intervention. And so I'm hoping we can get to that space and place because we can do better for all of our students.
Thank you for the answer. That makes my heart very happy because as you know, I was a retired principal of Global, which was the only newcomer high school in Nevada. And the small class sizes, the SEL, the trauma-informed practices that we instilled. We had a extended school day and extended school year, so that really helped our students gain. Okay, my last question is, how do you see your role in balancing oversight with allowing the superintendent and administrators to do their jobs effectively?
Okay, I'll start on that one. First of all, I think that something that is so important, and I know I've been explaining this for like 8 years, but I try to change it up a little bit and make it briefer because I'm more popular that way if I don't talk too long. But the trustee role is one that we have some specific duties and jobs. One of the main ones is the budget. I'm sure somebody here tonight may have a question about that. And then we also have only one employee, and that one employee is the superintendent. So we talk about ourselves as not just as a team of 11, but a team of 12, because the superintendent is the 12th member. So she is one who has the authority over the teachers, the schools, the site-based administrators. But when we look at what our role is, if we are not there as that team member, as a whole, as a board, not disseminating different political views or different agendas, that coming together, that is how we support our superintendent in being able to do her job. I'm saying her job because it's her job. Before we used to say the upcoming his or her principal, and now we know. So when we talk about having only one employee, that employee is responsible for what, 48,000 is something, is that close to the number, 48,000 employees and everything that's going on there. So when she and her staff do all the work to give us the information of what is happening, whether it's something that's a celebration or maybe something that has maybe not turned out so well, and we get that information, we then are able to give her our input on that, and she is able to take that input. As she says, she has 11 bosses. But if we don't all do our parts, then we can't work together to come out with a good student outcome. So I'll stop there. So that's going to be brief. Go ahead.
I just don't have, I would say this, sometimes, what I want to say is sometimes people feel that we can make change happen. And our lane is to create policy, to implement policy, to provide oversight for policy, also to oversee in the budget. And so what I will say is that we do want to hear what is happening in schools, because sometimes people have layers of frustration, or maybe things happen that they feel that things are not being addressed. So know that even though that is not operationally within our lane as a trustee, we are open to getting you to someone that can listen and hopefully address and resolve whatever could be happening. And there have been many times that that does happen, where we will make phone calls to parents directly.
Yeah.
And then we will just make sure that there's a follow through and that things are addressed and resolved. So I do want people to know that even though we're saying we're over the budget and we're over policy, we are open to listening, and this is what tonight is about.
Yes.
Because we do want to know, and if anything, we can be a messenger to our superintendent to take some of those maybe good news and a thank you and appreciations. I mean, we want to hear that as well to share with her. Okay, next question. She's ready.
Hello, my name is Janet Carter, and I'm a community member out here.
Okay.
I have sort of two very related questions, so if they come out as one question, that they're, sort of related. And the first thing is, I'm wondering, going back to what Liz was talking about sustainability, and if the Clark County school system has any particular plan for sustainability and how that relates to solar use and that sort of thing. And if you've looked at all at the Clark County all-in sustainability plan that Clark County has, if you've tried to join up with that at all. So that's sort of my first question. My second question was related. I looked at some of the proposed growth for the district, which I think would affect this part of the city, especially this part of the county, especially. And with all these proposed new homes that we've been talking about, we're hearing about 70,000 new people, or however many people coming in over the course, however many people more than that how does the school system respond to that growth, and just in terms of infrastructure, schools? And, you know, how can we work on sustainability and as we push outward in our borders? Thank
Do you want to do the first one or the second one?
All right, I'll start. And thank you, Ms. Carter, for that question. So I'll try to, and I do agree with you that they kind of roll together there. So this brings us to like our facilities division and also our AZAC committee. Both of those, that department, facilities, and also AZAC with the zoning, we do get regular reports that let us know what the growth is going to be. I'll use for an example something that's fairly recent. And if anybody's familiar with the Arbor View, Sky Canyon area, we've had an incredible amount of growth there. We've also had a lot of growth over here going to the south in Henderson. A lot of homes, a lot of apartments. And so what our facilities people do, and then it goes to AZAC as far as the zoning, what they do is they try to do a projection to be able to see what is going to be needed. And we have to look at, I mean, the amount of information that these folks work with. When I first became a trustee, I think that one of the former trustees informed me, we have former trustees here, so maybe they can help me out. They informed me that we didn't used to have an AZAC committee, and that the trustees themselves had to do that research. I was horrified because I'd always been there with the AZAC committee. So in being able to make those projections and being able to see what the needs are going to be, we have to look at what the neighborhood looks like. Is it already what they call a self-contained neighborhood, where there's likely not to be any more growth in that neighborhood, the borders are already full, or is it something wide open where there is going to be an incredible amount of growth? So there are several steps that happen, Ms. Carter, having to do with that, and it's an ongoing, what they told me is that it is flexible, it's ongoing and evolving. Those are the words I hear most often. It gets very frustrating sometimes though, because I know the constituents are looking at this and they're saying, how come we don't have a school over here? Or what happened to the elementary school over here? Or why is this school going to be another CTE instead of a comprehensive school? So those are all questions that our staff has to grapple with, and then they bring the information to us. So that's a partial answer. I wish I knew all the answers, but we can do a follow-up if you like.
So I will say I am the trustee rep on the master plan, facilities master plan committee. We are currently in contract with Canon Design, and they have done a series of community listenings. Maybe some of you have participated. If you had, thank you so much for your feedback. We will continue to be doing more listening. And we actually are going to have a presentation to the board, I think, tomorrow night. So that would be, I think, a tune into. And I have been told, and we've been, you know, there are docs posted, that everything is going to be considered. And I love your question, because that's the only way that we as trustees can ask them in real time. So I am going to take your question and ask it tomorrow night.
Yes.
So tune in, because I think that's too important for us to really have this conversation about what does the future hold, and knowing that some of our communities are growing beyond, right, and oversized with enrollment, and then we have other parts of our community that have less. So we have to really have a conversation about that. And I would say to you, please tune in, but also stay in touch with us, because I think our superintendent's really innovative and she's looking at all things. I remember during one of the interview questions, she even presented potentially, maybe we need to look at, and I'm just quoting, you can go watch whatever meeting that was many months ago. And she said, maybe we need to look at some different grade bands for our schools. Maybe we need to look at a K-8, right? We need to look at things in a different way and be creative. So I think, again, everything is going to be discussed. And I appreciate your question very much, because it's very timely.
And just add on to that.
If I could just add one.
Sure.
Did you want to add to it? Go ahead.
Just to point out one thing that I didn't sort of into that I didn't mention is, when I'm thinking about growth, and particularly about going outward. Okay?
Yes.
And which I personally don't support, but that's a whole different situation. You know, I'm just saying, if it happens, how do we deal with it?
Right.
And one of the issues that I'm concerned with is, so there's a lot of talk about growth and new development and there's a lands bill in Congress, so they're opening up a lot of new lands for development. But what it does not address is the issue of transportation.
Mm-hmm.
And if you build, if you're not building schools out there, how are the kids gonna get to school if there's not available public transportation? I don't think reasonable to expect parents to be driving it. So that puts more,
Good question.
not only may you need new school buildings, you may need a lot more school buses and drivers too. I'm just, wondering if you thought about how that kind of issue affects your planning, particularly your sustainability.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Sorry,
Carter.
words right out of my mouth here.
Yeah.
I thank my colleague for bringing up that tomorrow, because normally, I think in the past, we've mostly had the facilities master plan presented on the Thursday on the regular board meetings. And so tomorrow, it is the only item, if I'm not mistaken, right, on the work session, which is at 4:00 instead of 5:00, but that was live stream. And just taking a wild guess here, hope I'm not dooming us, but I'm guessing like 2 to 3 hours probably on getting to that facilities master plan, because it is very complex, and I'm hoping that we're going to get a lot of questions. And it would be nice to have some people show up for the work sessions. Sometimes we're talking to ourselves, we're talking to the camera, but it's always trustee and superintendent items. So this is really a great opportunity to come to a meeting where maybe there might not be so many people public commenting, that you have a chance to go ahead and ask some questions on this very important agenda item. So Ms. Carter, thank you so much for bringing up these questions.
Next question. Yes. And as you're approaching, I want to acknowledge, because
Yes.
our principal is doing double duty tonight.
Yes.
So we appreciate you, Principal Jackson, so much for hosting us as you're running between flag football. Yes, it is. Thank you. Sorry, I just want to
You're good. My name's Todd Moulton. I am a product of CCSD. I have 3 children at 2 schools in District G. I teach at East Career Technical Academy, so the schools are all encompassing within my life. And I want to say thank you for having this meeting. I am disappointed that there's not 100 people here instead of 30, because this is the type of meeting that teachers, community members, faculty have needed and wanted for years. And so hopefully this will gain momentum and gain steam and be able to go from there. I have 2 things. One of them's kind of just a personal thing, not necessarily a question, and then the other one may be something to take back and maybe receive some more guidance on. The first one, as we entered today, we had to go through metal detectors in order to come.
Yes.
And when I asked, they indicated that it was because trustees were here. And I'm just wondering if the optics of having to go through security to meet with trustees is not really the best when you don't have to do that in a school setting. At a CTA, we don't have a designated police officer on our campus, much like comprehensive high schools do. And so just safety in general, something to think about. The optics, the vision, how do we keep everyone safe? And I understand, that right now there's a lot of pressure on school board members for things that are out of your control, but I'm afraid people don't recognize that. So I understand it. I'm not disagreeing with it. But just kind of the view that kind of portrays. And then my next thing is kind of a question, I don't know. This is my 16th year teaching. And one of the things that I've been very diligent about is getting the CUs going through the professional growth system to get my pay raises and different things. And currently at our site, we're not a Title I school, so it's every 3 years for us. But my concern, my worry is, as we submit those things to the documentation, the paperwork to that department is seriously understaffed. Last I heard, there were 2 administrators and 2 secretaries that are reviewing all of this documentation that we provide. I currently have paperwork in there that's been in there for over a year without getting approved. And so as the superintendent refers to us as a destination district, which I would love, how can we focus more on teachers, and specifically with our pay advancements and those things that we're working hard on, to be able to hopefully get that turnaround in approval, so that we're not worried if we're getting a pay raise at right now I'm hoping, but I don't know because things haven't been approved. And so I'm just kind of a suggestion, thought, how can we improve that department to be able to better help teachers feel more comfortable as we're expending those funds to get the pay raises? If that makes sense.
It does,
Okay.
it does.
All right, Brian, I'll take
I'm gonna do one. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Moulton.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your question. You know, one of the things I will say about the balance, right, of making sure that the optics are welcoming to the community to say, we want to see you, we want to be here. And I will say that it was at our request, because sometimes the community, and we would never share what we receive. And so, and an abundance of caution, not to put any fear in our community, but we all want to go home to our families. And I know that that is something that we can see in regular council meetings. There is a detector that they have people go through too. So I would just say, please, we'll take the responsibility. It was at our request. And just because things can be unpredictable. And so unfortunately, that is kind of, we want to get to a space and a place where that is not something we feel that we need.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the question, because you may not see it at other community meetings. It is a personal preference. And I will say to you, having been a former high school principal and having done football games, that is also a new part of our process, right? If you go to a high school football game, they're making sure that you're not bringing in anything that shouldn't be at that space. So any kind of concert, any kind of public event that is happening now, we are expected to do that. So thank you for allowing us to keep us safe and understanding that that was definitely at our request. Thank you for that. You want to do the second one?
As far as the CEUs?
Yeah, the CUs, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna add on just a little bit to that. And, when she says we all want to go home at night, I have to tell you that, again, not going into specifics, but because of certain recent events and volatile, atmosphere, we want to make sure that you guys are okay, because we signed up for this. We signed up to be elected or to be appointed, and so we take, kind of the whole ball of wax that comes with that. You guys just want to talk to your trustees, and as Mr. Moulton said, you want to just be able to come to a community meeting. And I've been there long enough to where we used to have regular community meetings, and sometimes I'd have it at Chaparral, sometimes I'd have Del Sol, Green Valley, whatever. And, we didn't have metal detectors then. So it's a matter of safety, not just for us, but we're thinking of all of you, because you guys are not privy to some of the things that we're receiving. Going on to the second part of your question, absolutely, we get a lot of emails about that, and we should. We are the ones that can take those emails having to do with why is it taking so long, not only for the credits, but the process itself. And I think my number one answer, and Trustee, as far as the staff again may want to add on to it, my number one thing to be able to make you feel more comfortable is better communication. If we can at least, if I could, it's not going to be me communicating with you, but I think you would be quite happy if you got a status update, something that just, I know that if I owe money to something or I'm late on something, I have a late charge, boy, those messages are just coming in like that. But, the teachers are writing to us and saying, what is going on here? Or even something with substitute services or even something, and they are doing the best they can. I can tell you that because I talk to our staff all the time, and they are doing the best they can. We do need more people. I'm going to say that right out loud. We do need more people because it's very, again, my other hat is as a therapist. So I know the anxiety, of feeling like, am I going to get that money, or when is that going to come through? Did I make a mistake, etc. So if we can do a better job of giving some status updates or just letting you know it's in the hopper, it's coming along, I think that would help. And the other thing is that we can ask, is there any way, because it's not in our lane, we can ask, is there anything that we're looking at for the future? Because, these contracts are not just a one and done. We have these contracts coming up all the time. So is there anything that we can do to streamline the process as we get a new contract and we look at what has to be done for those credits and to get you your money? Because that's what we want to do. We want to get you your money.
So I get to follow up, and it's gonna be short. I wanna say thank you
Yes.
for decades and a half of service to our community. So thank you for choosing to be an educator. I think people don't understand, the sacrifice that you make. But I do want to say to you, the thing that I've heard our superintendent say more than once is that we are looking at how can we be more efficient. And so I believe these are the things that we need to be aware of, right? So that we have an understanding, maybe this is a space that we need to review the process and the system and what is happening. And I agree with my colleague, Trustee Cavazos, is not just the updating, but the whole process. And is there a timeline? Are there deadlines? What is that? So she's very willing to, review those things. So thank you for that, Sheriff.
You can't tell that we're two former teachers, can you? Absolutely not. Who would like to come up next?
Can I just speak right from here?
Sure,
My
absolutely.
name is Sheila Moulton. I am a former trustee.
Yes.
And
I was looking at you.
I know, and I just have to give you a compliment. I've watched meetings, I've participated in meetings for 30 years. And there was a time, in fact, we formed a group called ABC, Better Choice, because we felt like the trustees were not being professional. And I want to tell you that I think that has improved significantly in the last year. And I know there's probably a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we don't see. And the one that mentioned, talked about getting politics out, you're individuals too. And you do represent people. But some of the things that I've seen that I've been impressed with are the way that you address each other, the protocol of the meeting. I believe right now that Irene Bustamante Adams worked very hard at serving in that leadership position. And Linda, you have served in that leadership position, and there's nothing like it until you do it.
True.
And the other thing is I'm so grateful for these kinds of meetings. This is just what we need to do. And he's my son.
Yes. We kind of knew that, but we weren't going to blast it out.
And I'm so proud of him that he has dedicated his life to education. He's always in our family. Also, you brought the students back into the meetings.
Yes.
Thank you. I will tell you, I have one concern, and it's just something that I feel. Just recently, you started showing the pictures of the speakers again. And I have to tell you that I think sometimes when they're on television and have that opportunity, they may get bolder and more aggressive. I think that your board is supporting Irene as she calls people out and continues to encourage them to be polite. But what school board members, districts need to do more than anything is set good examples for our children. And I know you're working at it very hard this way. Thank you for that. But I hope you'll watch and see if those things might transpire. I hope they don't. I hope our community comes together and says, hey, we want to show our children how they can disagree. And I don't know, my husband has a thing that says what? Conflict is inevitable. Contention is a choice. And that's really true. We're gonna never come together on everything. But if we wanna beat each other up over it, then that's not the way we really should be teaching our children. So basically, I thank you and I thank you.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you. And thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
Thank you for still being here and engaged.
Both
Both, and
Beth,
Mary Beth, thank you. We appreciate that.
both
very much.
former trustees.
Former. I mean, that's applause, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we did.
Yes, I love it. Thank you.
That's supporting us. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
It's me, Jamie. I'm here to talk about Title I.
Hi, Jamie.
It's nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I echo everyone here saying that thank you for getting this started, getting meetings back. And I believe what Todd said, that people will, when they see the outcomes of the meetings and they start to see solutions formed, follow-ups to questions, you'll see more and more people here.
Yeah.
Not just to ask questions, but to offer support.
Yeah.
The biggest compliment I can give the board and the new superintendent right now is the re-engagement of the community. So bringing back really important key community partners. They're vital to the work that we do, and I don't know that everybody understands that we don't always have time to keep the connections and tell the stories of those connections. But I'm grateful that that is one of the pieces that is falling back into place and that I think can grow. So back to why I'm up here, I understand that the federal budget, things could change significantly, and there's a version of the budget where there's no Title I at all. If Title I continues, right, that's not the thing that we have control over in the district. I would love for CCSD to re-engage with the state of Nevada and consider moving beyond only using the CEP as how we determine our Title I eligibility. It leaves out American citizens, it leaves out students, both Social Security numbers who are American citizens, whose families either may not qualify for services or may not feel comfortable reaching out for services. And so because of that, those students are misidentified and not receiving funds. I also think that CCSD should re-engage in a conversation with more equitable distribution of Title I funding. Around the country, the number hovers around 42%. So if your school is somewhere between 42 and 50% Title I, then you're receiving funds, because really, ultimately, we would love the funds to follow the child, because that's really who they're for. That money is supposed to trickle down to the eligible child. But having a number that is closer to 75, just 75% does not feel equitable when you have schools that are struggling to meet the needs of students who are living below the poverty line. So I think both are worthy of engagement, looking beyond the CEP, finding other ways to ensure that we know whether or not a student qualifies, and just thinking about getting that money to more students in a more equitable way. So it's just something that, and if you need support, I am here. I will talk to anybody, anytime about it. So I just wanted to get that on the list, and again, say thank you. I appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. You want to address me on that?
Just a comment, we'll take it back.
Thank you, Jamie. We will absolutely be taking that back, and I'll absolutely have received other communications on the same topic. I always like to let people know. I forget it, I'm sure there. I always like to let people know that when they're asking a question, that they're not alone in asking that question. There are other people asking that question, and it might be worded a different way. It might be coming from a different part of the community, but it's still being asked. I think the 7-minute warning? 7-minute warning. Okay. All right.
Okay, my turn.
Yes.
I brought paper.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna apologize. I hopefully will not take up the last 7 minutes, because I don't want to take up anybody else's question time. But I do have something that's rather long-winded. I will try to be quick.
Okay.
I sent you guys a question about SBTAs. Oh, I apologize. My name is Adrienne Stone, and I'm a parent.
Thank you.
I sent you guys a question about the special education teacher assistants. I'm here as a parent, like I said, and a community member, to strongly encourage you to reinstate special education teacher assistants, because doing so is not just a moral responsibility, it is wise, evidence-based, and essential for student success. I'm sure that you will hear many emotional stories from parents, and you'll get one from me as well. But first, let's talk business. Over the past years, we have seen budgets tightened, roles stretch, and supports cut. Special education services, by law and moral imperative, are supposed to allow every child to reach their potential. I'm sure you're all aware that in the 22-23 school year, the number of students who receive special education under IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, was 7.5 million, or the equivalent of 15% of all public school students. Without adequate human support, without the SBTAs, we are failing 15% of our student population. Under IDEA, students must provide free, appropriate public education to every student with a disability. That means not only specialized curriculum, but also supports and services like TA that enable access. Cutting TAs undermines our legal obligations and opens us up to lawsuits by parents. I ask you how much money that's going to save us. Now, my speech isn't going to be all doom and gloom. Let's brag on ourselves a little bit here. Henderson schools overall tend to outperform many in Clark County. For example, Henderson's average graduation rate is 90.7%. That's a pretty good thing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's better than many parts of Clark County, and it's better than the state average. However, when special education supports are scaled back, we risk losing that stellar statistic. Let's not forget that 15% that I mentioned earlier. How much of that 90.7 graduation rate will Henderson lose if 15% of our students are left behind? Now, the arguments are we don't have the budget. Maybe, but consider the cost of lost learning, remediation, long-term dropout risk, special intervention services later in life. Investing now in SBTA saves resources over time, both in educational outcomes and social costs. Now, we already have special ed teachers, that should be enough, right? No. Special education teachers are essential, but TAs multiply their capacity. Teachers can plan and lead, but without assistance, many learners don't get the specialized support that they need at the moment that they need it. Teachers can't be everywhere. You guys know this. You've been in a classroom. TAs also reduce teacher burnout and improve teacher effectiveness because teachers aren't stretched beyond what one person can reasonably manage. In the 23-24 school year, special education teachers in Clark County had an average turnover rate of 25.9%. I pulled that one off of Google, trusted as much as you trust Google. The average turnover cost for a teacher in the US is approximately $25,000 per teacher. How much money are we actually saving when special education teachers burn out and quit? And let alone the experience and institutional knowledge that is walking out the door with them. I told you you would get an emotional story from me as well, and here it is. These are my girls, Artemis and Estrella. Both of them were in the kids program, are in the kids program. Estrella is still in. Artemis was diagnosed with speech delay and met the educational definition for autism, so we enrolled her when she was 4 years old at Gordon McCaw STEAM Academy. During that year, with the help of her special education teachers and the SBTAs, which she became very close to, her speech and behavior improved so much that she was able to transition into the general education classroom in kindergarten. She's now in second grade and fully caught up. Estrella was born with challenges a little bit more significant than her big sister. She also has a speech delay and has been medically diagnosed with level 2 autism. When she entered the same pre-K program at McCaw, she had less than 20 words and she would not use them consistently. She had tantrums and frequently cried for no apparent reason. The teachers and SBTAs worked with her and applied the knowledge that they had of autistic children to her specific needs. Through patience, hard work, and a lot of learning, they slowly brought her out of her shell. Toward the end of the school year, she said, "Mommy," for the first time ever. Over the summer, she asked me for a cup of juice, using a full sentence. This is stuff that would normally result in a meltdown because she couldn't tell me her needs. I have the McCaw STEAM Academy, the special education teachers, and the SBTAs to thank for that. They are vital, and we need them back. How, as officials who took on the task of being responsible for our students, and as intelligent people, which I know that you are, can you look at parents like myself and tell me that the progress my children are seeing are not important to fund our SBTAs? You said that we need to meet students where we are, or where they are. That is what SPTs do. I don't know if anybody in this room knows what it's like to have never heard your child say, "I love you." The removal of the SBTAs are robbing an innocent 4-year-old and her family of the opportunity to do just that. My child's progress has stagnated since the removal of the SBTAs from her classroom. So tonight I am asking you to please reinstate and fund an appropriate number of special education teacher assistants in every school. Invest in training, oversight, and clear roles so that TAs are not just present, but actively effective. And monitor outcomes, the IEP goal achievement, test scores, student attendance, behavior, social and emotional well-being, and teacher retention. Use that data to further invest in our SBTAs and to talk to the people above you to get the money that we need to get them back in the classroom. I thank you for listening to me, and I trust you to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, I will go first. I'm gonna, kind of go to the bottom line. I wanted to say, I'm a first name person, so I started to say Adrian, but I want to be respectful, so I'll say.
You can call me Adrian, it's okay.
Okay. First of all, your story is so important to us, and we are appreciative of you sharing it with us, because this is what our district is made up of, is all the stories of our children and what they're going through. You asked a question, I believe toward the end of your comments, when you said, can we look at you as parents and say that this is not important? I think I'm pretty safe in answering that, no, we can't. We can't look at you and say this is not important. What I can say is that we do know, and our superintendent has been very open about this, and even though we have the lowest number of vacancies that we've had in a very long time, it is fairly common knowledge that a large number of those happen to be in special ed. So what we are looking at right now is being able to find a way to do exactly what you are asking, and making sure that every child, just like your two daughters, and I applaud the progress, that must have been a wonderful day for you when she was able to do that.
It was.
So, and I'm sure it touched all of our hearts here.
I bawled.
I'm sure that you did. I think that all of us as parents would have. So right now, we're looking at funding. We're looking at availability of personnel. There are different things that, again, are, and I don't mean this as a cop-out. I want everybody to know that when we say it's operational, it's operational. We don't have direct control over that. But if you wouldn't mind, if you have that, I saw that you were reading from some notes, and I know that this is being recorded and people are watching. I think we had something like 70-some people that had signed up to watch. So if you wouldn't mind giving us that story that we can share
Absolutely.
directly, because your story is probably a duplicate of many other parents in this district that have children that are in that predicament. And I want to make sure that I get your daughter's names correct. Is it Estrella and
Artemis.
and Artemis? I want to make sure that all of our Estrellas and Artemises in this district get the help that they need. And I want to address the other thing that you said, and that is that our teachers have a wealth of knowledge and experience. And when we have a child with special needs, that forms that special bond with SPTA, with the teacher, but there are not enough hours, hands, voices to go around for them, we do encounter burnout. And so that is another, shall we say, another nuance of the problem that we can bring to try to find a solution. So we will very much try to do what you are asking.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Adrian, thank you. I actually visited McCaw 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What an amazing community.
It's a wonderful
It's a
school.
wonderful school, and I wish, and I know that we will do a better job of telling the stories, right? So I appreciate your vulnerability and really sharing in this space. It takes a lot of courage to be so open with us, and I want to acknowledge you for that. I want to say two things just to add on. I know we have to transition. The first thing is our SPTAs are our pipeline. They are our next licensed teachers, if we can keep them, right? Retain them. So
Exactly.
that is so important to us, and especially in special education. So I'm going to say to you that we have to work together to tell your story, to tell the stories, so that we can do better. And that this is what tonight is about. And I'm just going to leave it there, because I know how amazing McCaw is, and there's a lot of other McCaws out there. But that is something we have to do better. The second thing, I'm going to go to the entire group in this space. I was looking at my notes because we are very grateful to our legislators for really putting in some more funding, right? into all of our coffers for education. But it's still not enough. It's just not enough. We are spending per student $9,501. If we look at the national average, it's $15,633. There is a huge gap, and a part of that, it is that bottom line. We're seeing our enrollments at some of our schools, not all, decreasing. 3,600 students have left us. Okay, how do we get them back? Where are they? Like, there's a lot of questions that come to mind. But the main thing is we do need to work as a community to advocate and to say we need more funding, because that gap is wide. And a part of that piece is making sure that our students in special education, and I say special abilities, that's what I choose to use, is really where we should be putting that funding as well and really advocating. So we may call on you next session, if you'd be so willing to share that story again. So, and I want to close it out with, if you don't mind, Trustee Cavazos.
Where are we at?
We're at 6 o'clock, I think. Are you okay?
I just need 5 minutes.
Oh, you only need 5?
You'll need that? Oh, okay.
Okay.
And I don't know if we mentioned that we were going to be having a presentation, from this year having to do with the upcoming plans for the 5-year strategic plan. And so we want to make sure that she had enough time to be able to talk about that a little bit. And I did want to say that our superintendent currently is speaking with, she's very honest about this, all 11 bosses, about the 100-day plan. And that's something that we are communicating to her individually, what our priorities are. And I want to say that even though she was on the phone, she was at a conference, that this was last Thursday, that Trustee Esparza did bring up the priority of special education for that plan, and that we need to have that in there. So, and I'm just gonna go one step further. She says she may call on you for the legislature. I may call on you sooner than that.
Please do.
Because parents' voices, students' voices, and I think as Ms. Bolton had pointed out, so good to have those student voices back as a part of our meetings, but we need the parents also and our community members. So I think we have time for another question, right?
Maybe one more? Okay. Any other questions, comments? Yes, come back to the mic. I didn't see it.
And thank you too for your service. I know it's a very thankless job, so I just wanted to put it on record. Thank you. So I have emailed the board several times requesting a meeting with my trustee, but I have not received a response. So how can the community members be assured that our elected trustees will be accessible and responsive to the people they represent?
I'll let you take it.
I'll take that one since I've been here the longest, and Ramona just said you can take that one. Nothing like throwing my friend under the bus, right? But this comes up a lot. So again, we're going back to our governance policies. Anybody who is brave enough to be on social media right now, I'm just going to be very politically correct right now. And if we're going to use the word politically at all, I'm just going to say that a lot of times, they don't know how to reach us. We do have an app on the website that's called Let's Talk. It's a very good app, but it does go through certain kind of steps, protocols before the messages get to us. So I am the one that is out there posting not any personal information, of course, but our district contact information, because we are allowed to be contacted. And that's the most direct way to be contacted. And that's why our district email. I know that we put some business cards out there. My district cell is on there, people know how to find me anyway, so I figure I might as well be open about it. Here it is on the business card. But it's our responsibility as part of a team of 12 that if somebody is not getting a communication back on something that's very important to them, that we take that message directly instead of causing an outside problem, that we take it directly to our leadership and say, this is a constituent that has this question, and we do need, we do have 3 officers, and we take that to the officers so that they are leadership and they can go ahead and take care of that. If it is something especially, and I handle things a certain way, and I think all of us, are a little bit different, but if it's something that's out of District G, I will go ahead and directly contact the constituent and say, I am referring this to Mr. Caruso, our special assistant and superintendent, our board liaison, and he's going to refer it to appropriate staff. If it's something directly with the trustees, then I would contact our board president and vice president to let them know that this is going on. But I also let the trustee that they're trying to reach, because maybe they're behind on email or whatever is going on. But we need to be like more direct and more respectful of one another as people. But we also want to make sure, as Trustee Esparza-Stofferkin had said at the beginning of this meeting, to make sure that you know that we are seeing you and we are hearing you. It might take us a little bit to get back to you, but we are hearing you. Want to add something to that?
I do, because I think the question is what if they're not responding? What if they're not responding? So I'm going to say this plainly, that we are accountable to you. We are accountable to you. Some of us are elected, some of us are appointed. And I would say to you, in my role, I am responsible not only to the residents of Henderson, but also to the council and the leadership there. Now, if this is an elected individual, there may be an avenue, Linda, for that individual. If they're not getting a response back, an intervention for them to be able to have some kind of interaction.
It would basically go back to what we talked about before, having to do with our governance policies. And we do have the governance policies, I'm not sure if we said this earlier, but they are on ccsd.net. If you go up to the top where the trustees are, and then you have to go through a couple of little links there. But all of our governance policies are there, and they state what the processes are. And that specifically pertains to us. So if somebody is not getting an answer, there is a protocol there that we're supposed to follow to make sure that our constituent concerns are being addressed and that it doesn't just float off into cyberspace someplace.
And I think I will add to that, because we had an oath of office, and with ethics, and part of that is that we agreed to be responsive to the community and to engage, and this is part of our role. So there is a body above us, which is the Ethics Commission, that we actually answer to. So I'm just going to say that plainly, because I hold myself to that same standard, and I would want others to do that as well. Before we close it out and transition to our strategic plan with our I forget your title, Ms. Sear. Chief Community Engagement Officer. It's like Mona Esparza-Stofferkin. So sorry. Before we close it out, I want to say I do not want to be remiss to thank so many of you for being here and really taking the time to drive and be with us. We said we are going to continue the conversation. We'll have more of these. In the center of the table, aside from the lovely chocolate left for you all, please do take it, or else I'll take it all. There's white paper, and if you have any follow-up question, or you want to leave contact information, or maybe you didn't get an opportunity to ask your question, please leave that with us. But we can only respond if you put some contact information there for us. So we just want to say, please, if there's anything you felt like that was not addressed or maybe you didn't feel that you didn't want to express it in the group here, we still want to be able to engage with you. So I'm going to transition to Ms. Sear, and she is going to explain about strategic plan. Okay, come join us.
Thank you.
Okay.
You have to let them know that your communication also.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So hi, everyone. My name is Kirsten Sear. I'm the Chief Community Engagement Officer. And my role is to oversee much of our engagement with the community, including our communications and media relations, as well as some of the facility master plan outreach that you all were talking about. So lots touching on that. So as the trustees mentioned, Superintendent Ebert had a 100-day plan that was really focused on improving our climate and culture. And she's made some progress on that. I would love if you could go to ccsd.net. You can read the results of the 100-day plan there. But next we're focusing on our strategic plan, right? So we are creating a 5-year strategic plan that will guide all of our work in the school district, right? Our major decisions, our budgeting, our conversations in our board meetings. This is gonna be a really important document that we want the entire community's input on, starting with you tonight. And so what I am hoping you can do, if you don't mind, is get on your phones and scan this QR code here. And it is a very, very quick questionnaire where we are asking you, and everybody online too, I think, can also see the QR code. So the question is, when you imagine the future of CCSD, what's one change that would make you proud of our schools? So when you imagine the future of CCSD, what's one change that would make you proud of our schools? And we would love to hear from as many people as possible. This is just the beginning of the planning for our strategic plan. And we're obviously getting a wide variety of answers, from folks that want more solar to folks that want us to address special education. But it can be that broad, right? So maybe seeing solar panels on every school would make you proud, and maybe ensuring that, there's a full staffing for education would make you proud, right? So what's one thing that would make you proud of our CCSD schools? And we'll give you a few minutes to fill this out.
It may not work, but the cell service in here is really spotty.
Oh,
So
really?
you may want to just take a picture. You can see the bit.ly underneath
Take a
it,
screenshot.
and do it when you leave
Thank
the
you,
building.
Todd.
So
Thank you.
just a thought.
Sorry
Teacher
for
coming
folks
out.
that are having issues.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Just to spur the conversation, does anybody want to share something that they're thinking that would make them proud of CCSD schools? Feel free to share. Yes.
As a parent, I'm a parent, I'd say literacy or literacy.
Throughout K-12 or?
Written and reading.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Something that would make me proud of our schools is to have students voice their pride in our schools. Right now, I feel like a lot of students are not proud of where they go to school and the communities that they're coming from. And so, like, I live next to Chaparral High School, and right down the street from us is C.W. Woodbury, who just got a major uplift and new building and design, and I feel like that's gonna help bring spirits up with the kids. But if you go 2 blocks down to Chaparral High School, that's a completely different story, right? So having our kids take pride in our school and then voice that pride would make me very, very happy.
Thank you. I love that. Yeah, we can take that to the student advisory council too.
Yeah. I'm really glad you brought that. We all perked up when you said that. But I'm really glad you heard that. I mean, my personal pet peeve is when people say, what do I know? I just went to CCSD or what have you, right? And that's a narrative about our schools that, we really need to overcome, which is easier said than done, right? Because we know we have excellence in our schools, like throughout our schools. The only thing also I wanted to say is that the superintendent has asked that we be very deliberate in incorporating student voice in the strategic plan. So we are going to be reaching out to students as we develop this plan.
And I think part of creating that and incorporating student voice is also allowing them to see the amazing thing that CCSD products, or for people who have come out of CCSD and in positions of power, like the superintendent, like Mr. Moulton, like people that they look up to within the community and growing and being successful.
I love that.
So they need to spotlight success in order to grow success. They need to see themselves in positions of success. All of our students.
I totally agree with you. We have some initial plans to get going with that.
And actually, you have been doing some of that on some of social media and putting that out there, as far as some of our alumni that have come back and I think there's one that is where's Jamie? A chef at the school, right? And we had another one, I think that is a music producer that was just on Twitter the other day. I'm not sure. Yeah.
The overall CCSD social media footprint is 647,000% better in 3 months. The overall presence, just daily shout outs to teachers, multiple posts a day, clean, clear, beautiful, representative of all the community voices. hearing directly from the superintendent via social media in important moments. Like, please, the communications, I think between that and some of the newsletters, I feel like it's a huge step forward for exactly what Mr. Roy was talking about, where we reflect the pride that we have so others can see it.
Well, you just made my day.
Yeah.
And I will bring that back to the team. Thank you.
Adrian's next. Adrian.
I had spoken earlier about special education, and obviously that is at the forefront of my concerns and would make me the most proud of CCSD. Something that would also make me proud of CCSD, I spoke about my older daughter and how she is caught up in second grade. You mentioned that you, instead of calling it special needs, you call it special abilities. Artemis's special ability is math. Even when she struggled with her speech, she has always been a math whiz.
Yeah.
And she got to compete in a elementary math school competition, which was a huge thing for her. I would love to see more competitions be available for our students. Competitions that exist outside of CCSD, that we can bring those titles back to the school and say, look what CCSD can accomplish.
Great idea.
That's what we haven't done yet. Thank you.
Yeah, that's new. Yeah.
Do
I
that.
love that.
Ed?
I like something that you said about the communication on social media. There was an incident, I think, at Kenny Glen where the electricity went out, and then you had to move the kids. What I was generally surprised at that moment was the superintendent, and I think it was Deputy Superintendent College, went up there and explained to the community what was going on. I nearly had a heart attack. Even though none of us really live over in that side of town, it was the fact that that was within the first month or two of the school starting. And it just seemed like it was a different direction, a change in the practice. I feel like there's you hear from school, from administrators and teachers that there's really a change within the district, but we haven't seen that come outside the district and the community. And I understand it's 100 days.
Yeah.
But that's something that I think I noticed when we talked about that. I was just, that wouldn't have happened 2 to 3 years ago. In fact, I don't think we would have heard much of anything about that. But actually see that there an explanation was welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
And Mr. Gonzalez, I'd like to follow up with that. I know it's your time, but, so,
It's really your time.
so I really appreciate that, because sometimes putting things out there that is factual and not misinformation is crucial in the time that you receive it, right? So I will say to you, thank you for acknowledging that, because sometimes the news is not always pleasant, but it's really what's happening. And so people want to be informed and they want to know, and we'll do more of that. So thank you.
1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute. 1
And
minute.
that's something too, where something not
Yeah.
pleasant happened, but all of our protocols worked, our staff worked together,
Yes.
they kept kids safe.
Yeah.
So we want to show that off too,
Yeah.
right?
We do. Just want to thank everyone so much again for coming out here. My husband said, "Where are you going tonight?" I said, "Don't you remember? It's our community trustee meeting." He says, "You're going to miss an Aces basketball game?" I said, "No, I'm not going to miss an Aces. I will be there. I'll be there." So this is just so refreshing. We are thrilled to have all of you here, and we are looking forward to so many more community meetings. I thought I saw another trustee kind of sneak in there a little bit. He has a meeting coming up soon. Trustee Isaac Barone, representing the municipality of North Las Vegas. So thank you for coming tonight, Isaac, and we'll certainly be there to support you. But thank you again, all of you from so many different entities in our district. We so appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Last words, can I be the Vanna?
So
we have some amazing information about family resources and engagements. Please take it. It's on the counter.
Yes.
And I believe we have a Monster Mash event here in Henderson at the Lee Forum Center. What date is that?
It is Sunday, October 19th or 18th, whichever day that is, but it is Sunday. 19th, yeah.
19th?
Yep. Free for all.
Free for all. Please show up. I will be there.
I've been before.
Yeah.
What's your costume?
Oh, my costume. I have to figure that out.
I don't
know
even have to wear a
That's my
costume.
homework. That's my homework. I will be in costume.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank
It's
you all.
fun.
Appreciate you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yep. Okay. Here we go.
All right.